My advice is always make extra doors. So when I clamp this one up, it sucked down uneven on the top. I probably should have measured and put lines across the top to bring it down, but when I clamped it down, it came in uneven, which made the bottom uneven, and it slanted across it. So this is going to be a waist door, but thank God I made enough that I have a couple extra. This one is also slightly off on the clamping. So always make extra. I mean, in reality, I think I only need 10. Originally I set out to make 13, ended up with 12 finished, but 2 of those are probably going to be waste, so I'm right on the money for the ones I need. My last part for the doors, and I'm running out of time on the video for the sections for YouTube since they only allow 15 minutes, so I'm going to just wrap it up here. But the last part, I'm going to use my 50% Elmer glue, not Elmer glue, I guess type bond, regular glue, yellow glue, with 50% water. Mix that together, brush it on the end grain of the stiles here, and then the top end grains, and then I'm going to sand it down to about 1500 incrementally, starting at 220, and then I'm going to stain it after that. But again, I don't want this to soak up too much, this end grain. It's already actually a darker wood, so it's probably already going to be darker, but I don't want it to be super dark, so I'll use my glue mixture to seal the pores, to soak in the water with the glue mixture, and then sand that off to real fine, polished, present absorption. And then, you know, I built the doors first. I'm going to build the face frame second. I mean, certainly if you've already got openings and you're doing face frames first, make your stiles extra wide, make your rails extra wide so you can trim them off at the end, because they might need a little bit of trimming to get them all even and the same. These are all exactly the same now because I used a table saw stop block, and I trimmed the top and bottom. Again, I referenced off the stiles, so at least it'll be 90 degrees when the hinge is open. Here's the mortise hinge spots that are in there already. So I'm going to take some air once I've finished sanding, and I'm going to use my compressor to blow all the air, get the dust off before I start the final staining. I did make some little paper pieces to fit on here. When at one point I clamped the outer frame together and left the panel off and traced that, because I was worried when I was sanding that I might catch these corners, and I sanded all 12 of them and only caught one corner. Not this one, but it was one corner I caught just a little edge, and took some stain off. If you're just careful when you're sanding, your orbital sander shouldn't hit this. I had enough room where I didn't really need. Toward the end I just quit doing these pieces of paper. I double stick taped them to it. And again, for staining, I think I'm just going to be really careful, use a brush to get along here without dripping it onto the raised panel, because I don't want it to fuse. I don't want it to be locked. Hopefully the expansion contraction will be strong enough to break a stain seal, but I don't want to risk that, so I'm going to be real careful with a brush. And don't think I'm going to tape it. It would be very difficult to tape this around the curve. So make plenty of extra doors, plenty of extra stiles and rails. I mean, I've got extra pieces. I mean, I've got a number of extra stiles, and even the arch panel tops, I've got 3 extra of those. But you need that, I mean, just to do this sample hinge setup and things like that, to measure your distances and make sure that your gaps are okay. You need extra pieces, so make plenty extra, and again, make the extra wide. These are 2.5-inch rails and stiles. I mean, make them wider because you're going to want to cut them down to all even, and some are going to clamp slightly different than others.